Hello, and on this very special episode, we leave Smallville and head to Mercy Reef and Chicken and Arthur Curry. We are watching the pilot for the failed Aquaman TV show.
My son's story begins in the ocean, a place full of secrets. Although he lives among you, he was born in the darkest reaches of the sea. I'd hoped to teach him the ways of the world, how to lead a good life and become a good man. But then, I was taken from him. Do good with your life.
Come on, AC. Look, you're under arrest for breaking and entering.
You want to know the real reason why I freed those dolphins? Because I felt like they were calling to me.
What are you saying? You can talk to fish now?
Dad, I went from holding my breath for 5 minutes to being able to breathe underwater. I can swim faster than a cigarette boat at full throttle. How do you explain any of that?
All these files contain pictures of people who have vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. I want you to join us, Lieutenant. Help unlock the mysteries of the Triangle.
I remember the day your mother's plane went down.
Who are you?
In exile like you and your mother.
Exile from where?
Atlantis.
Can you say hi to Captain Nemo and the Little Mermaid for me?
You can't run away from your true calling, Orin.
So if Atlantis exists, then how come no deep-sea probe has been able to discover it?
Because it's cloaked in a shroud no modern technology can penetrate. The Bermuda Triangle. If you look hard and long enough into the deep, something's going to start looking back.
I'm Lou Gonzalez.
I'm Alan Muir, and with us is Cammy.
Hi. Good way to start an episode with people I know.
Yeah.
I gave a thumbs up if you did not hear that.
Well, like,
I actually thought you were coughing because you didn't have access to water, which is key in this episode.
I thought that was the same thing, because when you get beat up, like we see at the end of the episode, you just pour some water on your face and drink some, and then you're good to go.
It's basically that meme where like the guy pours water on himself while he's doing the race. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a very interesting show. So it was a pilot that was made in 2008. The concept of they actually ended up doing with the Arrowverse, doing a spin-off show with Aquaman, starring the now superstar Justin Hartley, famous for the show that just came back, This Is Us. Like, multi-Emmy-winning show with multi-Emmy-winning actors. I don't remember if he was nominated. He is definitely one of the bright spots on that show. And it is kind of crazy to see the cast that they put together for this. Because compared to, like, the cast of Smallville, this has much bigger, like, names for the time. Because
I would agree with you, but I would also be like, I have no fucking clue who any of these people are. I know Justin Hartley because I've watched Smallville. And then also This Is Us is, like, the shit now. But, like, the girl who dies and, like, the black dude with the mustache and the dad.
Ving Rhames?
Yes.
Have you never seen Pulp Fiction?
Oh wait, was he, like, the dude in Pulp Fiction?
Yes, the giant black man in Pulp Fiction, yes. He's also been in, like, every Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise.
I thought he was, like, a Green Mile reject when I saw him.
No. And then he was also the voice of Arby's for, like, the last 5 years.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's, like, a very well-known actor.
Well, he's very lovely, and if his family is listening, you're not.
But yeah, so Ving Rhames plays the, like, wise old black man in this TV show, which we got a lot during this time period. We also have to, round out. The one thing I'd have to say, they did an interesting thing with, like, the diversity in this show. Cause you see it in Smallville, but I guess because it's centered around, like, high schoolers, it's a little bit different. But all the other people are all adults, cause you have his multiracial adopted father, Lou Diamond Phillips, who's also he doesn't do anything now, but he was kind of a hot name back in the 90s and the 80s.
The kids may know him from the Radioactive music video by Imagine Dragons with the puppet fights.
Was he the puppet?
No, he's like the bad guy.
He got his ass kicked by the puppets.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but he was also in Young Guns, and then he was in the, I can't remember the name of the movie, but the Richie Valens movie, La Bamba. He was the star of that. But he was really big in, like, the...
He was also in a movie that I fell in love with, even though I shouldn't have, because I had to watch it in school. A movie called Stand and Deliver.
Oh, Stand and Deliver is awesome, where he plays, like, a super vato with what the hell's his name?
Edward
He's the
James
teacher.
Olmos.
Yeah, Edward James Olmos.
Or Admiral Adama.
Yeah. But he hasn't really done anything in a long time. Like, so the last big thing I saw him in, looking through like his stuff, was, oh my god, I'm having to like really scroll. Courage Under Fire, which was the Denzel Washington. It's where Matt Damon like lost all that weight, I believe. Yeah, with Meg Ryan and stuff, where it's like a weird military investigative. Yeah, but we can go back to talking about what we're actually supposed to be talking about, which is this awesome show.
It's so awesome.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like okay, but it's not great. I feel like I haven't watched Smallville in a while, but I feel like the acting in this episode, it just was particularly worse, or just like way cheesier. I know it's like a pilot episode, you have to like introduce everything, but just like the way the guy from Pulp Fiction is like, keep the change, as if that's like a badass line.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like, I think the difference in the two shows is this show got arguably bigger names, but that they're not known for like doing roles, TV, but also roles that are like nuanced.
Yeah.
Because the three best parts of Smallville, what me and Alan talk about usually, is Michael Rosenbaum plays Lex, John Snyder, who plays Jonathan Kent, and I always screw up his name, John Glover, that plays Lionel Luthor. And Jonathan Kent, he hadn't really done anything since Dukes of Hazzard. But if you watch that show, and Glover, like, they really carry like a gravitas and like emotional stuff in the show. And I guess that's what Diamond Phillips and Ving Rhames were supposed to do, but they really don't at all.
They definitely don't. Like, Dukes of Hazzard guy and guy from Gremlins 2 are so great in that show. But this just feels like they're just really trying to force everything at once. Like, they really wanted to like shove everything in this episode as possible. Just like, this is what is happening. Like, there was no reason for there to be like this weird long fight at the end, despite how cool it was and all its cheesy CG whatever. It was just like, it felt like too much.
Well, that's like one of the things I was thinking. I was like, this pilot must have been so expensive for them to film.
Yeah.
Because,
well, the budget was, I think, like $7 million.
Jesus. Because, like, yeah, they're unlike like the other CW Warner Brothers shows, and unlike Smallville, like, they didn't film in Vancouver, like we were talking about earlier. They ended up filming in, you said Miami?
Mm-hmm.
No, for this they shot in Canada for Smallville. They shot this in North Miami.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They shot this show in North Miami. Like, that's probably a lot more expensive than filming in Vancouver.
And also just like the places they go, like seeing like a real life like airplane hangar place, that looked like that was probably the most expensive place to shoot, and they only do it for such a short amount of time.
And there's a lot of CGI in this TV show for like this time period. Like, there's the multiple like the what we see is the Siren, Adrianne Palicki's character, who's also in this, which is again really goddamn weird that she is. And then there's like all the plane shots, like the weird water cannons from the ocean, and there are things in this episode though that I thought were really interesting, and I actually was like, ooh, I want to see where that's going. Like the whole subplot with the government agent guy, which is hilarious because he was on an episode of Smallville in season 1 as like a bad guy of the week.
What was he? Rick Peters?
Yeah, he was in the episode where like if he shakes your hand, like you do what he says.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like episode 5 or 6 in season 1.
It's a really good episode.
Well, they're all good. They're Smallville episodes.
But there are a bunch of things that like I just didn't understand the change in the Aquaman lore. Like with calling him Orm, I like the first time I heard it I was like, wait, what? Like why? Like I don't understand why that's a thing.
Maybe they were trying to do like that thing where it's like, oh, your real name's Toby, but like I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I like where it's like, oh, this is your Atlantean name, but like he chooses Arthur over it because of his adopted dad.
Yeah, but like, isn't his adopted dad technically the king of Atlantis? They kind of explain that where they're like, we have to pretend that like, oh no, your father wouldn't know.
Well, no, like, I thought from listening to it, like, his real dad, like, so in this, he's not half and half. Like, he's full-blown Atlantean. And his mom escaped with the help of Ving Rhames and then fell in love with Lou Diamond Phillips, who has no idea that they're Atlantean.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of like a bumbling fool in the whole thing of like not knowing what's going on. So
He
it's
kind of is a bumbling fool though. Like I was like checkmarking all like the cheesy lines that they had or like the stereotypes.
Instead of being the Kents, he's Aunt May.
No, he's totally Aunt May.
That's
like
like
a really whiny Aunt May.
Yeah, and it's like and they're trying to make him out. I guess he's supposed to be like a Coast Guard badass, like high up in command kind of guy.
Yeah, he is Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't know, like the other thing I really did not like was I don't even remember her name, but the bartender girl.
Oh yeah, she dies, right? Or like doesn't? I don't know. She gets stabbed.
She gets like a handful, like fingers through her chest. So, which was probably an expensive effect, and I was I was very surprised. I was like, "Ooh, this is like really violent for like one of these shows." Like even today, like that was pretty graphic.
That would not be like TV-14 now for sure.
No.
Which I guess is probably also another reason why it didn't go through. Is like really would have had to like clean it appropriate for the Flash crowd or the Smallville crowd.
And it's also strangely more sexual than Smallville, which again they're in high school in Smallville, and there are times like we've talked about in episodes where like there was a skinny dipping part in one of the episodes with Clark and Lana, but like that was like right off the bat here. I guess it's like the difference that they've got to be over 20. He's got to be over 21 because he works at like a bar.
Yeah.
And there's a line that Lou Diamond Phillips throws out where he says, "You should be at Stanford, not
fucking saving animals."
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like a whole other weird thing. And then with the girl, like he just kind of like throws stuff at her and she just like accepts it so quickly. He's like, "Yeah, like the dolphins, they were calling to me." It's like, that's. And then later on when he's like, "Yeah, so like my dad was king of Atlantis, so you should close up shop and leave because that crazy bitch is gonna come back." And she's just like, "Okay, I'll go stay with my sister in Tampa."
Because you're serious now. I believe you because you're serious. Like, there was just... That whole moment was just so forced and just like, no, we have to get the plot going. We can't, like, over-explain it to her. We have to, like, just figure out a way to, like, get her out of the scene.
Yeah, like, there's, like, so much... There's, in a one-episode pilot, there is so much going on, though, because we haven't even talked about the whole, like, secret government side plot that happens.
Yeah.
Which is it was interesting, but like really kooky at the same time. But so what I got from it, let me know if you guys thought different, is like basically there's Atlantean sleeper cell people walking among us in this show.
Yeah. It's like an X-Files kind of thing. Yeah. Like where they're like trying to like figure it out or like, no, there's like totally some bullshit going around that we have to figure it out.
Why do they look like people who went missing in the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, maybe that's like their Atlantean recruiting strategy. They just get people who float or like, get towards Bermuda Triangle. And they're like, now you're just a fish person. This is what you are now. Because you crashed near us, you're a fish person.
Yeah, I guess because like the thing is, so we see two of these people. The first one is the one that's there to warn Arthur.
Yeah.
Who ends up getting off by Adrianne Palicki, who's a siren.
Nadia,
who's a siren, which I guess they were going to go real hard into like the magical aspects of Atlantis. Oh, and this reminds me, we get to see, I don't even know how to describe this besides the goofiest, lamest thing to show that you're from Atlantis, which is a seahorse pendant on a really bad necklace.
Yeah.
The cheapest looking necklace possible.
Oh, like they spent $2 on the two of them at like some sidewalk salesperson at Miami Beach.
Do you really think they bought two of them? They had the one and they like made them swap it.
I only think there's two because I feel like there's like one shot where has his and then is holding it and then sees him with it. And maybe it's like one scene where one shot where you see them both with it wearing it, but I could be wrong. But maybe. it was the dumbest thing like that they did in the whole show.
Like, there was nothing, like, there's no cool design you could have. Like, there's so many Aquaman designs that are, like, basically the Illuminati symbol, like the Freemason symbol. That would have been so much, like, more just, alright, that makes sense, other than a seahorse. What seahorse has ever helped Aquaman except for in that terrible cartoon?
That's most likely why.
Yeah. But it's like, it's leaning into the joke of Aquaman and not, like, doing any of the cool stuff about him. But there are a couple other funny, that are very Smallville things, like him wearing orange for like most of the episode, like an orange sleeveless shirt. Just trying to think of like some other things. What did you think of the Adrianne Palicki outfit that they had her in?
Like the villain siren bitch?
Yeah. Like she's like in a seaweed bikini, I think.
She looked like way more like risque than I would ever have thought. I was like, there's not a lot to the imagination going on. Like, it was like, nah, you're pretty much almost naked, but you got like some gross fish food across you.
It's just funny to see her go from this, and then she was Wonder Woman in that bad Wonder Woman pilot, and then she is Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And she was also the fake Supergirl.
In which show?
Oh,
she was in. I didn't know she was in Smallville too.
Yeah,
they just like
season 3 or 4.
Oh yeah.
I think it's at the end of season 3.
Oh wow!
Is that the season where they like do the whole like Clark is God to that church or whatever, that small town?
No, it's the one. It's where they lean heavily into the Kawachi Caves.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
They spent way too much time on that.
Well, it was like, I think me and Alan have talked about, there's a lot of stuff that they do in those earlier seasons as like a kind of pseudo version of like the Fortress of Solitude, because they just never thought they were going to get there. So the Kawachi Caves is like proto Fortress of Solitude, because they never thought they would actually get to like season 8 where they could use it.
Yeah,
So there's like, if you watch like a lot of the early, especially like season 1, there's like a lot of the villains of the week that are like, oh, this is kind of like a crappy version of this guy. This is a not real version of this guy. And it's like, oh, but those characters actually end up showing up later on down the line.
Yeah. And even like they call like the barn on the second floor like his Fortress of Solitude.
Oh yeah, there's tons of inside jokes in that show. We do get a couple in this. Like there's like the talking to fish thing. And
You're not gonna talk about the blatant as Arthur is nearly drowning. That wide shot of the whales.
Oh, I actually thought that was an amazing idea for that, and I was like actually really surprised. I was like, oh, one, this is an expensive thing for them to make. I was like, oh, this is kind of badass. Like that he gets saved by whales while he's, I guess, subconsciously called them.
Yeah, it's almost like a Harry Potter situation where like he doesn't like know that he's doing it, but he like kind of wants it.
Yeah, which again, that's like what I'm saying. There's like a couple of little things in here that were really interesting. Like I actually think that the whole sleeper agent idea was a really cool idea, and I was like, ooh, I would actually like to see that show. And the fact that the guy, Man in Black guy, wants the girl to join his team, and then they reveal that she's one of them.
Yeah, that was like, actually pretty cool.
I was like, oh, that's a cool ass twist, because like she definitely knows that, and then Arthur had saved her, and he's like, oh, I won't call you crazy until after you're off of painkillers or something. Like there was a lot of little interesting things in this, but there was also a lot of cheesy, terrible things, like them having to break the flask. So I had such a problem with the breaking the flask moment.
Yeah, that was like the weirdest MacGuffin to use.
He has a glass flask that he carries around with him. So that thing could shatter at any time it's in your pocket if you hit something. But it's full of water because, of course. And then he cuts his restraints with them and then just rips off Ving Rhames. So if he could do that, why didn't he do that the whole time?
To show him. It's about the journey.
Oh god. And that was the worst part. Like, I was waiting for that to be something like, I was like, oh, is he gonna open this up? And it's like that Aquaman, like, spearhead A symbol.
Yeah,
like,
or something cool.
Or like in, like an armored shirt. Like his like real armored shirt kind of thing. that he could wear. And no, it's a goddamn copy of Henry the IV.
Parts 1 and 2, which is like, what the fuck were they gonna set up? Like, did they have like 3 different plots? Like, villain of the week, the sleeper agent stuff, and then like his book report for each episode?
You say that, but they actually had the first 13 episodes planned out.
Oh, I did not read any of this. What were the first? Please inform me. What were the?
There was a possible one being McCaffrey getting captured and going back to Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Mythology around Atlantean mythology was supposed to play a role in the series. And there were going to be ocean polluters, illegal oil companies. So it would have been basically ecoterrorism, the show.
Alright, so it's like a mix of Reading Rainbow and Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Well,
who wouldn't want that?
They definitely set that up heavily in this.
I mean, the WB at that point.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want this show? I mean, it's canceled.
Yeah. I did not realize that around the same time they also... Actually, this came out after the Terrible Birds of Prey TV show.
Oof, yeah.
Which was in the same network and was, like, in the future. So I'm wondering if, like, maybe that also had an expensive pilot and...
The pilot surely felt expensive. I've seen, like, a few episodes of that. Like, that show felt, like, way too expensive for what it was doing.
Yeah, well, it was... The Birds of Prey show was very much, like, a challenge to... Crap, was the Jessica Alba show that Fox had?
Oh, Dark Angel?
Yeah, like, I felt like they were in the same...
Ripped off, or the show that James Cameron made that he ripped off from someone else, from someone or something else.
Avatar?
No, that I think he ripped off from Titanic in some weird way. I did that or Aliens.
Yes, he ripped off. Yes, everything James Cameron does is fake, so don't worry about it.
As we speak, he's in that little pod in the ocean trying to find the bar. Can't find it.
There's just no bar low enough for James Cameron and his thieving, malicious intent.
Oh,
so we were talking about Aquaman?
Yeah, so I did not realize this actually came after the episode with Aquaman on Smallville.
Yeah, which is super weird because Justin Hartley is not even... It just breaks my brain how much like they just didn't think about how the fact that there were 2 different Aquaman, like, and then Justin Hartley became Green Arrow.
Well, what? Yeah, they basically liked him so much in the show, even though they didn't pick it up, they wrote him into Smallville. And then their other idea was to, instead of that they were throwing around for Aquaman, was also to make a Lois Lane series that they did not do.
I mean, they already did it in the 90s.
I just find it funny that Smallville, it's either that or a Bruce Wayne show. Aquaman, it's either that or a Lois Lane show. We'll go with Aquaman. I mean, seriously, like, after Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, I would have liked to see a Lois Lane show.
There's only like one version of that show, like a Lois Lane show, that I would be interested in. If they did like young Lois getting into the Daily Planet as like a hardcore investigative journalist, where she's like really like on the streets trying to break big news stories.
That'd be cool.
I think that would work now, but I don't think that would work ever before. Like, I think that you could take like a super serious approach with like Lois like that.
But I feel like they'd still have to force in like,
stories.
The fucking plasma dude showed up and I have to write about it. You know, like they have to bring the villains in just to be like...
Yeah, well, they would Gotham it.
Yeah, which was also fucking terrible.
I gave that show 1 season. Yeah, like my thought would be like you basically do her thing, which Gotham should have done, is that like the last season you have like the idea of Superman coming around, and then the final episode is her going to do the interview for like with a one-on-one with Superman, and that's how you close out the series.
That would be cool.
So I was wondering why the guy, like the sheriff who arrests Aquaman or Arthur in the beginning, I was like, he looks so familiar. Where is he from? And I realized this guy was the guy led into the Rave in Blade 1.
Oh, huh. You know, I was totally getting some Blade vibes from this whole episode, especially with the CG. Like, it totally felt like the first Blade movie.
The first Blade movie was like a decade before this TV show.
It looked just as good.
But there are some, like, I did not realize this, but the pilot, I don't remember her name, the female pilot, so she's basically cast in this show. This is basically the only, like, TV stuff she ever did. Because she was Miss Universe in 2001, as well as being Miss Puerto Rico. So, like, this was, like, the CW and Smallville had a tendency of doing this as well. In season 1, there's, like, a 3 or 4 episode stretch where there is I can't remember what her name is, Kelly Brook, I think. And she was just, like, the FHM, like, top 100 list or whatever. So they put her in as, like, a Lex, romance person. So, yeah, they had a tendency of doing that with a lot of, like, the ancillary like, especially the ancillary, like, female characters.
So, I just want to say that whoever this person, I'm looking at just the release bit on Wikipedia. Someone, this person, Neil Calloway said, or described this pilot as Saved by the Bell, the underwater years. That is perfect.
Wow.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, I'm not sure, like, do you guys have any other, like, big thoughts on the show, or, like, what you thought about it in particular? Like, would you have watched this show when it came out? Like, I watched Smallville when it was coming out. I probably would have watched this. I did not watch, I think maybe I tried, what was that show again? Birds of Prey? But I probably would have tried this show at the time. Like, that's the other thing. You have to kind of give it a little bit of credit, because it was coming out in 2006.
Yeah.
So this is 12 years ago.
Also pre-Jeff Johns
Aquaman reboot.
Fixing Aquaman like he did Green Lantern.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like if the show came out now and it looked just like this, with like better CG, obviously, I don't think I would, mostly because I'm not catching up on Flash right now. I'm not watching any of those shows. But like if I was watching at the same time as Smallville, I probably would. It looks fun, you know. First episodes are always a bad impression.
Yeah, I guess the idea was they were trying to make like a more grown-up Smallville with this. And also, like, it seems like a much smaller cast, obviously, because they're not in a high school, so there's only, like, 6 people. Plus, like a bad guy of the week.
So, it could totally work. I would totally, like, this could be, like, a 3 or 4 season thing. I'd be like, that was fine, yeah. Yeah,
the only thing I just feel like conceptually, compared to Superman, like, you have to stick him in the water so much that's so expensive. I think that's what doomed the show. Is that, like, there's so much water shots. Like, you can't have, like, 3/4 of your episodes where he's not swimming. He has to swim all the time. So you just need to have, like, so much camera equipment and, like, cool stunts, and that jacks up your insurance, because, Hartley talked about in an interview that, like, he had a panic attack during one of the scenes that they shot underwater. I don't remember which one. Because they basically, it's the same thing they did with, Rosenbaum was playing Lex. They basically have, like, a scuba guy under the water, and to just, like, keep you under, and then they give you, like, they have, like, a thing to put on your face to give you oxygen, and then keep you down there. So you don't get to go up to the surface, but you also don't have scuba gear on.
But you're just, like, it looks, like, more realistic than having, like, a full set of thing on.
Yeah, and then you will, in Rosenbaum's thing, he was strapped in a chair. I think in this, maybe Hartley said that he was wearing something to kind of keep him weighted down so he wouldn't float as much. But, like, I don't know. There's, like, tons of things. Like, this would have been interesting, but I think I would have watched it then. But I don't even think they could do this show now. I just think it's too expensive of an idea.
It's definitely too expensive.
Also, there's I'm blanking on his name.
The dude.
Or as I call him, not Roman Reigns.
Oh, you mean the movie? I was going to bring that up, like...
Momoa, that guy.
Yeah, Jason Momoa, Yeah, there is the movie that's going to be happening now, and actually watching this show, I was like, oh god, I can really see them doing very similar things with that movie, plot-wise.
Oh, definitely. But that movie's gonna be awful, but just look beautiful. That'll be like, that's just gonna be the only good thing about the movie, so.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like Fast and Furious.
No, it's gonna be a better looking Green Lantern.
Oh my god.
With less jokes, probably.
Yes. But like if you take Ving Rhames and remove him and put in Willem Dafoe, like it's basically the same character. And then they have like the whole mother plot and that he's being hidden away from Atlantis. And then if you make Adrianne Palicki's character, I can't remember what they're called, but they're using in the movie like the Breach or the Drench, something like that.
Mariner's Trench.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're trenchers or something. They're like actual fish people with like claws. They look similar to how they designed her character, but they have legs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like more fishy people.
They're more like real sirens.
Yeah. Which, we didn't even go into the whole siren thing and her being like a evil mermaid, but it looked goddamn ridiculous. And
they had like the riffraff teeth.
Oh my god. Her teeth when she was in human form, I was laughing.
It was pretty rough.
Like, I was like, she has to have like some weird mouth thing in there, or they like, cause it didn't look like CGI, it looked like she had some like thing in her mouth.
Like a grill, yeah.
Yeah. Like wacky Halloween teeth, but they were like mean.
Mean Halloween teeth that are just like rubber and she's like constantly sucking on them.
Oh god.
Don't even cover her face.
Actually, like, I kind of felt bad for her. Like, she got the short end of the stick, for sure. Yeah. Like, she's mostly half naked, and then she's transformed into a fish monster, and then when she turns back, she's still half naked, but then has these goofy teeth in her mouth. And then she gets an arrow into her forehead.
I mean, the way you're describing it, it sounds like an 80s horror movie that I would watch.
There were definitely, like, if they would have, again, this would make the show way too expensive, which I guess is why their ideas were, like, eco-terrorist stuff. But if they could afford to keep going with, like, more of this, like, underwater stuff, like, it would have been interesting to see, like, oh, alright, so a siren couldn't get him, what can we send after him next? And I would have, like, a season finale would have been, like, them sending up, like, King Shark or something.
They totally would have had, like, a walking shark that, like, looked like that part in Moana where Maui is, like, part shark.
Oh, well, that's King Shark. He's, I don't know if you watched, they've used him in Flash.
Oh.
Yeah, there's an actual DC character that is a walking shark. There's also one that they could have also used, which is Orca, which is a walking female, it's a woman scientist who turned herself into a walking orca.
Didn't King Shark show up also in the 05 Green Lantern run that Jeff Johns did?
They throw him around all the time because he's really easy. They changed who he is. They actually changed the shark that he is all the time as well. Like sometimes he's a great white, sometimes he's a hammerhead. And they change his origin constantly. So sometimes, like currently, he's like one of the Atlantean like underbelly like people that are actually like changing into more animalistic creatures. Other times he's like in the Flash show, it's like a scientist that kind of did like a man bat or a lizard thing and turned himself into a shark person. And then they've also made him like like the son of a Hawaiian deity. They just have to figure out new ways to make him a talking shark person. And talking is very much in quotes.
Like, does he always talk then, or is he always just like...
No, sometimes he's just like rah 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 and like biting people.
I prefer the Young Justice Abridged version.
Oh, from the Arkham. That's the worst version.
That's the best version, where he's Groot.
Yeah.
Wait, was that like the animated movie that was like Suicide Squad?
Yes, and they had King Shark in there instead of Killer Croc, and it's like the most not King Shark. It's literally just like a dude with a metal. He's Baron Underbite basically. From Venture Brothers.
Gosh, those DC movies are getting like so. They're remaking what they remade like 10 years ago now with the Death of Superman. They're getting rough.
Yep. I guess the last couple of things we'll go over. Did either of you guys have like an MVP for this episode? Like your favorite? Like who did you like the most as an actor in this episode? Or character, I guess.
I would say I liked no one. I don't think I liked anyone particularly in this show. It was all just a large. It was the Indian Ocean of mediocrity for me, and I was like, it's all kind of the same. Nobody was like that great or like that bad. It was all like that was a little entertaining. That was a little silly. Nothing stood out too much.
For me, it has to be, or it's a tie between Ving Rhames and Hartley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about Hartley, and I was like, watching it, I was like, I can see how this guy had a thing that these people liked, and that's why they used him in Smallville. And
Yeah,
I can see
because I looked up the guy that they originally cast.
Mm-hmm.
as Aquaman or as Green Arrow.
For Aquaman.
Oh yeah, he does Leonardo's voice in the, what do you call it, the new Ninja Turtle movies. The Bay Turtle movies. He's the voice of Leonardo. And he did the body work as well.
No, I'm talking about the guy they cast for this specific pilot.
Oh, they cast somebody else?
Yeah, his name is Will Tolles, and he is a model.
Ooh.
Oh, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia, so...
This is like a Back to the Future situation where like they just filmed like half of it and they're like, nah.
Actually, Miles and Miller, they cast him, then CW just went, no. Fuck you. You're not having this guy play, this dude play Aquaman. We're getting someone prettier.
Huh.
Yeah, he's definitely much more square-jawed and bulkier. I Googled him. But there's definitely a charm in Hartley that...
He's very charming.
Yeah, he's a baby in this. He's super, super young. But I can see the guy that is now on and is amazing on This Is Us. I see that guy in there.
He's a more sincere and less annoying Ryan Reynolds.
Yes. Oh, that's actually a really good description of him.
Why isn't he Deadpool?
I like Reynolds as Deadpool.
No, I definitely he's good.
I definitely think Hartley could get easily another shot at a superhero, and he would do really good with it.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we see him on the movies more, besides fucking TMNT? He's busy with, yeah.
Oh, the other Aquaman or Hartley?
No, Hartley. Yeah, I don't care about the model.
Oh, no. Well, Hartley's on, This Is Us.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a lot of time to do a bunch of other
Alan
stuff.
Richardson, on the other hand, is busy working on Titans.
Although the other guy in This Is Us does a crap ton of movies. That's in Black Panther and he was in Predators.
The guy with the glasses?
Oh, Sterling K. Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, too.
He was also on Supernatural, and he was not good. Not good at all.
He was not good in Supernatural?
Yeah, but then again, Supernatural is not
awful.
Supernatural is almost a spin-off of Smallville. See, I've never watched it, but my wife loves Gilmore Girls, so in my mind, it's a spin-off of the one guy's character from Gilmore Girls and the one guy's character from Smallville. And they somehow met up and fight evil together.
Though it's funny that you bring this up. There was actually going to be a Smallville Supernatural crossover.
And yeah, now they keep talking about that they might do it with the Arrowverse now because they're all buddies since they all know each other. Because they all are stuck in Vancouver.
They're filming 10 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever they're not filming, Stephen Amell is just doing wrestling stuff. Or going on American Ninja Warrior and making everybody shit their pants that he's actually amazing at what he does. Have you ever seen his run? He literally does the course in a record time.
Better than the Naked Guy? I've only seen the Naked Guy.
From Arrow?
No, there was a guy who was on American Ninja Warrior who got naked.
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
I'm not trying to be a hipster here when I say this, but I preferred Ninja Warrior when it was Japanese back on G4.
Oh, well, I preferred... Yeah, well, the best show ever was, oh man, I can't remember the name of it. It was Wipeout, but Wipeout isn't the real one, the one that they did in Japan, but then they overdubbed it. Yeah, I think maybe I'm too old, and neither of you have seen this.
No, you're talking about, you're talking about Most Extreme Elimination.
Yes, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, and all I remember is Baba Ganoush.
I have memories of watching of that show sporadically when I was 10 or 9 or 10, and I would turn on Spike TV that would be on. Then it would go to either Velocity, Raw, Heat.
You all had a very different childhood than the one I had.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Well, I'm 31, so I don't know how old you guys are. I know Alan's younger than me.
I'm 18.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm 24.
Okay,
Oh.
so me and Alan are like pretty similar. We
Yeah.
can be like, I watch Rugrats.
I watched Rugrats too, but I was probably too old. You probably watched Rugrats after they give Tommy a little brother.
Yep.
Yes, so you don't even know.
Prior to this recording, I was watching old episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Uh,
This is how Alan spends his time.
yeah, I think we have gone off on a crazy tangent because I really thought there was going to be a lot more to talk about with this show since I'd never seen it before, but it is.
No, it really just.
It's a bad pilot. Like it's a meh pilot. It's
It's a Met pilot that feels like bad to watch. Like you just kind of like, I need to watch something else after this.
yeah, it's a pilot. Like, I'm like, oh, there's cool ideas in here because they never explored them. This looks really like they spent a lot of money, and they spent a lot of money on the cast, and the cast is just like not giving a shit at all.
Yeah, except for Justin Hartley and then the guy from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, like everybody else is really phoning in their stuff, and yeah, I just like it's whatever. Like if someone was like, oh, should I ever watch it? I'd be like, not really. Like unless you really want to see like baby Justin Hartley, there's no reason to see this.
Yeah. They'll get more out of the Wikipedia page than they'll get out of the episode.
Yeah. The only reason I would, depending on how that Aquaman movie comes out, is the only reason I would point somebody to this. Because if it's very similar in plot, I would just be like, want to know something hilarious? The same movie was done as a pilot, like 20 years ago.
Connor said that, not Irving.
McGraw.
Yeah. We keep saying that whenever this Flash movie happens, it's going to be season 1 all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's going to be season 1 condensed into a movie.
I mean, how many times are they going to say "Run, Barry, run"?
Well, that's
Oh my god, that's going to be the tagline.
Well, you act like that movie's ever going to get made. It's one of the 35 DC movies that have been said, and that's not in production currently.
Booster Gold is not happening because the co-writer of that was Andrew Kreisberg.
Yeah, well, they were trying to do stuff with that for forever, because they were trying to do a sci-fi show, even before the Arrowverse. They were trying to do a Blue and Gold.
DC's just sad now.
Yeah, that's not even the comic side, which is like very quickly going very downhill.
There's...
But I think that just about wraps it up. I'm sorry your first guest appearance is doing this pilot of this mediocrity.
No, it's fine. This makes it 2 podcasts now on the Los Hero where I go do a thing.
This is a Phantom Zone production.
It's a Phantom. Whatever. Isn't it on the same website?
No.
It's only the exact same people.
It's only just the exact same people.
Same people, different with different organization.
So this is like a Parliament Funkadelic situation.
Yeah. That's true to it all.
But do you have anything to plug while you're here?
While I'm here, you can check out, I make music on decomposingmylefthand.bandcamp.com. It's pretty mediocre. You'll enjoy it though, because you need to give me money. And I write a few articles over at loshero.wordpress.com, and I am currently figuring out another podcast that you'll eventually see that'll be full of actual conversation. And
will it be a podcast that was out a long time ago?
Yes, it is. It's the Batman Begins of podcasts, if you will.
Yes.
But yeah,
right.
I'm glad to be here with people talking about terrible CW.
And anytime that if there is special episodes that you would love to be on that you remember, just let us know.
I'll definitely force you.
There's no forcing here. And then, Al, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Well, first I have a question. Actually, you know what? I'll ask this after the show.
Okay.
Because technically it would be giving some people hope, or giving people a reason to unsubscribe.
You know, I'm just so amazed that you guys have an audience.
Oh, well,
Oh
who
no,
says-
we're just hanging on to the coattails of Phantom Zone After Dark stuff.
hmm
Yeah, we're just mostly yelling into the void about a show that was on a decade and a half ago.
It's
Some
it's
people
what
don't.
podcasts are all about.
Some people are surprised we've made it this far.
Rest in peace to all the fallen podcasts out there.
Rest in peace, Video Game Hour.
All right. Alan, what do you have to plug other than your wonderful smiling face?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good question.
I try my best.
Los Horror
Greg Miller
Games
taught me well.
is Los Horror Games, which Cam, you're a part of.
Yes, I have the chat muted, but I'm a part of it.
Why did the chat muted?
Because I got up to a point where there were just so many people talking about so many things that I just
I
decided
see.
to pretend like I was not there.
Oh, I do that for the horror ones sometimes.
Yeah, that just y'all are great, but y'all are too much. But I will. Yes, I am part of it. You'll see me there.
We are
Plug.
launching on the 20th of this month. We will have we will have content for hopefully the next or for the first 2 weeks. And when I say hopefully, I mean if I have to, I'll kneecap some people.
All right, I'm ready.
Not you.
Okay, cool.
You're good.
Good. And Luis, I don't even know how to pronounce your name. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, technically, but most people just call me Lou. And yeah, I'm on Los Horror as well. Wrote a couple things about Batman, and then I'm on the Phantom Zone stuff. Hopefully, we'll have Iron Fist episodes out before Daredevil season 3 comes out. We will catch you guys when we come back with season 2 of Smallville, and we will probably be doing a little bit different than we did season 1. That's all.
There are creatures in the deep you couldn't imagine in your worst nightmares.
Well, that's reassuring. Thanks a lot.